everybody. So my mom would probably think that I shouldn't film a video, but it's been almost a week. And I'm feeling a lot better. That's why I haven't filmed a video, because I've been sick, coughing fit, congestion, and in fact, at first I thought it was just a cold, and then all of a sudden my throat was sore, and my ear clogged, and then not too long after, there got gunk in my eye. It's not comfortable, and so I missed several days of work. Finally, I was able to go to the doctor, and we brought a note to my work to explain my absences, and I'm going back to work on Saturday. And thankfully, they're having me I'm working 3 days next week because I'm taking off for Thanksgiving to visit my family in South Carolina. So, but anyway, I just really want to talk to you guys, update you on my reading. I don't have any Top 5 Wednesday, or any other video ideas. I thought about stuff while I was sick, but I don't have anything planned so I will just talk about what I've been reading lately. So I finally, after a year, or maybe even longer, I finally finished Elizabeth Gaskell's North and South. And I stand by what I said. I prefer this one over Pride and Prejudice. This is and I said, and I bring that up because it's a industrial version of Pride and Prejudice, where you have our Elizabeth character, Margaret Hale. She is the daughter of Parson, and her dad, because his morals are compromised at the church, he quits the church and uproots his family to a city, uproots his family from the country of Helston to this industrial town or city of Milton, which is, like I said, it's during the Industrial Revolution, so everybody works at factories. No one's really interested in book learning, which is what her father wants to teach. And she meets one of the factory owners, Mr. I forget his name. I just finished the book and I just forgot his name. What is his name? Mr. John Thornton. And immediately takes a disliking to him. She sees him in a very bad light when he's a little bit cruel to one of his workers who's caught smoking in the factory, which, of course, you can understand why he's a little upset, because that could result in the place getting burned down and people getting killed or at least wounded. So it's basically about that relationship, and has the usual elements of these two keep on running into each other, misunderstandings and miscommunications. You have the infamous proposal that falls apart because at the time, Margaret does not have the same feelings that Thornton has for her. And there also is the subplot of she makes friends with one of the families who works at the factories, the Higgins, and becomes very close with them. And what I really love about this book is it's not just about the romance between Margaret and John. It's also about the Industrial Revolution, what was going on during that time, the conflict between the factory owners and the employees, and there's this whole subplot of that the employees decide to go on strike because they want their wages increased. Because of all they work so hard and the danger to them at the mills that they work at, but then of course that strike fails, unfortunately. And it's also it's all about, of course, like in Pride and Prejudice, it looks at the class differences and the whole difference between looking at the city life and the country life and comparing the two. And it's a very more, okay, I'm hoping this doesn't happen. I feel a coughing fit coming on. It's more than just the romance. That's what I like about it. It's definitely very interesting. The only thing I don't like about the book is the ending. The ending is different from the miniseries. There was a miniseries made in 2004, I believe, starring Richard Armitage, who, for fantasy lovers, might know him as Thorin Oakenshield in the Hobbit movies. And he was also in he was in Ocean's 11. He was kind of the male villain in Ocean's 8. The ones with Cate Blanchett and Sandra Bullock and Anne Hathaway. He was the male villain. He was also in a lot of he was in one of those disaster movies. I can't remember which one it's called. And I can't pronounce the actress's name who plays Margaret. But Terry, one of my best friend, had recently informed me that there's actually another movie made many years ago before that one came out, starring Patrick Stewart as John Thornton. And I don't know who the actress was. I don't remember. So I'm kind of curious about that one. I don't know how easy it would be to access that one. But I would be kind of interested if there's a way to watch that for free without having to, buy it. I would love to watch it, but I'm not going to go out all through the trouble and spend the money on one because I already have the 2004 version of it, which is really good. And like I said, the ending is very different, but I prefer that ending over the ending in the book. So I really enjoyed this. It was a really nice story, and it was such a relief to finally finish it after having read it to read it for so long. And I hate how I know I shouldn't do this, but as I'm talking about this book, I keep thinking about how people, there are other booktubers who would speak more eloquently and recall certain details from the book when they review it better than I would. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Like I said, the only downside is the ending. It was very beautifully written. Some of the chapters were a bit longer than others. But with an older book, like the classics, they're really wordy anyway, so it might take longer to read them, and they're not always the most exciting or thrilling. They're not like YA fantasy or something. But either way, it was a good book. I really enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to give it 5 stars on Goodreads when I write my review on Goodreads. So now I'm still currently reading The Well of Ascension, which is the sequel to The Final Empire. I'm almost done with that. I don't know if I'll get it done before we go to South Carolina, and I might end up bringing it with me when we go. But I'm pretty far in it, and if I took the time to read all day today and read tomorrow, because like I said, I'm not going back to work until Saturday. I could potentially get it done. I don't know though. It will depend on my mood. And like I said, I'm one of those Americans who loves watching TV as much as reading a book. So but I am really enjoying that. I'm enjoying the sequel to the book, and I like how it's not, and what I like about Brandon Sanderson is what everybody probably likes, which is he's created a magic system that he's established in the series, and also that he takes the typical tropes of fantasy, and twists them on their head. And I am also participating in Nonfiction November. So I haven't read anything in a while of this book, but like I said, I was sick last week, so I didn't feel like reading much. I did attempt reading my library books a little bit because I wanted to get, I was hoping to get at least one book finished. Before the date the books are returned. But I only ended up just DNFing a book, which I will get to that in a minute. So I didn't read much of Marie Antoinette. I didn't get very far in it. I just got as far as chapter 5, where it's like Marie Antoinette has been arranged to marry the Prince of France. But that's so they're preparing. Her mom is preparing her to go to France to marry the prince, and that's as far as I got on that one. I'm also still reading. Where's the book? Where is it? My library book. Dang it. I'm also still reading Walt Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination. I haven't read any of that, but I did watch his 90th birthday special. That's when I realized, of course, when I was watching that, that's when I realized there was something wrong with my eye. So that it was hard for me to pay attention to that. Oh, damn it. That's the problem with this particular bookmark. It doesn't stay secure. That's the risk of travel. That would be the risk of bringing that when I travel. And that's all I remember so far. What I remember is that Walt Disney has officially decided he wants to be a cartoonist at this point. And he's kind of in the outs with his dad right now because his dad does not approve of his profession. Because, I mean, of course it's in the art, so he's not wrong when it's not wrong to be a little concerned and be like, you're not going to succeed with that one because there's a chance you won't. And when it comes to the arts, at the same time, it's probably better to be optimistic. But actually, speaking of Walt Disney, I have been watching a lot of interesting videos. The Defunct series on YouTube, which talks about like a lot of the extinct in histories, a lot of all the attractions and famous rides at theme parks, not just Disney, but since I'm reading about Walt Disney. So I was watching a lot of those, which was really interesting. Like, I watched the, last night before I went to bed, I watched on the park attractions about the inside the castles for Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. I've seen Journey into the Imagination and how it did well when it was Journey into the Imagination, but then it became Journey into Your Imagination, but unfortunately that failed. And I watched America Sings, his video on America Sings, which was kind of tragic, that particular situation. I mean, they're all tragic that all these park rides failed, or they had to be gotten rid of. But it's kind of sad with America Sings. Now, I mean, the guy said it wasn't just that, because even after this tragic incident that happened on the attraction, it kept going after it just, I don't know why, I guess because it just got it was too old-fashioned. But in America Sings, there's actually one of the things I found out when I watched Disney's Dark Secrets was about a girl, one of the cast members, a female cast member who was supposed to be kind of like the host for America Sings. She got, it was one of those revolving stages, and that she got crushed when the stage revolved because she just didn't jump out of the way or something. So that's and she sadly died. So that's kind of that's the only aspect of that attraction most people remember. And even seeing it kind of creeps me out a little bit. But of course, I've always been creeped out by those animatronics. But anyway, that's Disney, so. But I will continue reading this. Like I said, I didn't have any faith that I would get any books done for nonfiction November. I didn't have a lot of faith because I'm reading these big books. Like, look at this big book. Damn it. I apologize. I was so afraid that would happen. It's probably why I shouldn't have filmed this. So that's what I'm kind of working on. Oh, and I'm also reading a book, Canterbury Tales for Class. We're reading some of the random tales from it. It's basically a group of travelers from a town. They're traveling to Canterbury, and they get to this place called the Tavern, and the host, and the guy who runs the tavern is like, why don't you, as you guys travel to Canterbury, why don't you tell a bunch of tales as you're traveling, and I will rate them, and whoever tells the best tale will get a free meal, or everybody else will pay for his or her meal. So it's all about these people. Like, there's cooks and parsons and monks and friars and franklins and knights and squires and all these different people that make up a kingdom telling stories. Some of them are kind of interesting, kind of entertaining, other, but that's the problem with books for school. School just makes them more boring and a little too academic. And this is another book, the next classic that I might read, I might get back into and finish, is The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. And all I know about this one so far is this American woman is invited by her aunt to come to England to stay there and become a woman and find a husband and be more worldly experienced. And unfortunately, she is caught between 3 suitors. 2 of them she rejects, but the one she doesn't reject ends up being total douchebag. And that's what I know. And that's just from reading summaries and descriptions and looking up on Goodreads, people's reviews. So I want to finish that one. Okay, so I am also working on my library books. I decided to DNF Brother Band Chronicles, Book 1, Outcast by John Flanagan, because I just couldn't, maybe to be fair is because I was sick. And I didn't get very far, but it's just I couldn't get into it. And the writing style was very tell, not very show. It was like the author felt like because he was writing for middle school that he had to dumb it down. He had to explain things. That's the impression I got after reading the first 25% of the book. It's like, just because they're middle school doesn't mean that they're dumb. It doesn't mean that, you have to talk down to them. Because I know some I know some people who are between ages and the middle grade age that are very well read and are not that dumb. And for those that are, that have to talk, that prove his point, that they have to be explained things to, well, why are they reading the book then? And, they will make other people that don't need to be explained things look bad. So anyway, I DNF'd that. I currently am reading Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk, the same one who wrote, what is that series called? The one where the father, the guy can read if he reads out loud from a book, the characters will come to life. His wife, when he brings a bunch of characters from this one world to life, this one book to life, but his wife is traded for them. And it's all about him and his daughter getting his wife back. Which I like the movie for that. I haven't read the book, but I did like the movie for that. I can't remember what it's called. It's gonna randomly pop into my head, I know. But that author writes this book called Dragon Rider, which is really good. And I'm really into the idea of reading more books about dragons. So, yeah, I DNF'd that one. And then I haven't really started my other library books. I started 2 of my other library books. Bridge of Clay. Yes, I'm finally reading Marcus Zuzak's Bridge of Clay. And the writing style, it's hard for me, the writing style, the way he writes in this book, I don't know, I don't remember. It's been so long since I read the book Thief. I remember loving it. Dang it. Sorry. This is probably why Mom is writing I should not be making this video. But with this one, the way Marcus Zuzak writes in this particular book is it jumps around a lot. So I don't know, it's a little hard to follow and to figure out what's going on with these characters. I'm gonna keep going because the librarian Melissa was like, "Oh, I've been wanting to read this," and she told me, like it's like she expected me to tell her all about it, and the chapters aren't that long. I mean, it's divided into, well, they're not even really chapters, but the little sections aren't that long. It's kind of not the most interesting, right? I'm not that interested, so I keep debating if I should keep it or if I should go ahead and return it and maybe get it another time when I have more time. I mean, granted, I know I can keep, as I said, I am well aware that I can keep checking out books, but I just get anxiety when I know I have to return a book, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me to read it. And this is a bit of a big book, so I don't know, I might look it up or something, look up on Goodreads. I mean, like I said, the chapters aren't long. I might read a little bit more, because I'm probably not going to go until next week to the library, because it's going to be raining tomorrow. It's closed on Sunday, and Saturday it closes like 1 or 12. So I don't want to. So I'll wait until Monday to take a mag, maybe read a little bit more. And plus, I'm coming home in the afternoon anyway, so even though I'm working on both Saturday and Sunday, so I have plenty of time to read it. So I don't know, I might return it. I feel bad because everyone else seems, but I don't know if I really love it. It's hard for me to get into it. I also finally decided to get into read another thriller, which is Tana French's book In the Woods. I read a little bit more. It's kind of interesting, and I like how the author writes. Although I am a little confused because it's a female author, so I'm thinking of a female lead as I'm reading it. But it's not, it's a male lead. She's writing about a male character. And I also like that it's in Ireland. That's kind of cool. Although, again, that's the only thing I'm having trouble with because, I've never been to Ireland, so my view of Ireland is very limited. So I have this country-style setting, and, but I keep thinking it should be in a city. So, or at least the suburbs or something. So my limited view is very conflicted. But at this point, I can't really explain what it's about. I'm sure you guys have heard of In the Woods, so maybe you already know what it's about. But anyway, I can't explain it until I get farther in the book to really figure out what's going on. I just know that it's set in Ireland, and I do know something happened to our main character when he was a boy. But that could also be because I've heard tons of descriptions about what this book is about, and I remember that little bit from before. And God, I cannot wait until I start feeling completely myself again. As you can tell from my voice, my nose is congested. My ear is driving me crazy. Both of them are clogged, but this one is a lot worse. And at least my cough is starting to slow down a little bit, but it gets worse in the morning and the night. And because of what happened with my eyes, my mom has to put stuff in my eyes both in the morning and at night, which makes my vision really blurry for a few hours. I mean, I can see, it's just blurry, but still, it makes it hard to type on my computer, and I'm more prone to make mistakes. And it's also hard to read. And of course, both on Wednesday, yesterday, yesterday and on Friday I have class. So hopefully my teacher won't ask me to read. I mean, I can kind of see it, but it will be I'll be stumbling a little bit, but so hopefully she won't ask me to read. Or I'll just great, I could just explain to her. My vision is a little unclear right now, so it's kind of hard for me to read. And she'll be understanding. And I still gotta ask her about if we're gonna do the essay or not. Because I don't know if we got the essay. I mean, she didn't mention that we got it. We got it on Monday, but anyway. I also, the other two library books that I had, that I haven't started, are Terry Pratchett's Dodger. Now, I don't know if this is part of the Discworld series. or if this is a separate thing, and maybe I'll find out. I mean, it doesn't really say in the description. If it's part of like Discworld or something. And then I got another one that's I think it's also a thriller, a science fiction type thriller or something. Or no, not science fiction. But I don't know. But basically about this girl that she thinks she knows her father, but then she finds out, but then when he died, she realized there was things that she didn't know about him, and it's about her investigating that and finding out what's really going on. It's The Unseen World, by the way. I didn't mention the title. The Unseen World by Liz Moore. This was one of those books I heard a while back when I first joined BookTube. Not when I first joined BookTube, when I first started watching BookTube. This was one of the books I heard about. And I stumbled on it at the library, and I just decided I was kind of in the mood for it, so. But I also have to focus on, I can't focus on all these books at once, so I'm just focusing on Bridge of Clay, In the Woods, and Dragon Rider. And Dragon Rider is middle grade, so that won't take as long as the other one. So I might read that one when I go to bed while I'm waiting for myself to fall asleep, because I'll probably take the nighttime cold and release stuff again tonight. So that's how I'm going with my writing. I promise I'll have a better video. I don't know if I'll have one before I leave for Thanksgiving. Tome Topple is coming up, and I still do not know what I'm going to read for Tome Topple yet. So I need to think about that. But, like I said, at least I'm finally done with North and South. It's kind of a relief. So what are you guys reading right now? How's your November been so far? Whether it's reading or personal, I would love to know. If you like this video and can understand this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and click subscribe if you have not already. I would really appreciate it. And as always, I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later.